Hey guys, so in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about what happened with the squatters. There's an update. Governor Hochul signs a new law that gets rid of the squatters. Because think about it, as a homeowner, you have no rights. You're coming into your home and then somebody else can take over just like that, break into your house, make a few minor improvements, and then you're taking them to court and then you still have to shell them out money. That's not fair. But I'm so happy because they put a spotlight on this in New York. They're doing something about it.
The governor of New York speaking out just a few minutes ago about the new anti-squatter law that she signed into effect. The push for change came after a series of 7 on your side investigations into the problem. Investigative reporter Dan Kraut was there, joins us in the newsroom with more. Dan?
Sandra, the governor signed off on the squatter law as part of the state's new budget package. I just got done speaking with her about it and how it became a reality. What are your reactions to the changes made in state law, and how do you think they will impact New Yorkers moving forward?
Well, we put them into state law because it makes sense. And I thank you for your reporting that put a spotlight on the fact that there are people illegally in other people's homes and creating havoc. And so we needed to make sure that our budget, the laws that we introduced just last week, would address this crisis.
I do want to say this. This is actually the first time that I've ever seen government act so quickly about something that's been going on for years. And you can't do that anymore. And I'm so glad that because this has gained national attention, they're doing something about this immediately. This is a great, great move from the governor. This is one of the very few times that I actually say that they're doing something good for the general public.
After a series of 7 your side investigations, a handful of lawmakers pushed for changes to state law, and the governor signed off on those changes this week. They voted to revise the way tenants are defined in the law to exclude people who don't have a homeowner's permission or legal right to be inside a property. They say it will make it easier for police to remove squatters instead of having to take them to housing court.
I like that idea. It'll be easier for the police to remove them instead of taking them to housing court where the owner has to end up footing the fees. Now, the problem that I have with the legal system here in New York is it's too easy on criminals. Within 48 hours, the criminals are already released back on the streets. We've seen it with the migrants who were committing crimes against the police officers. And we see that against petty criminals who are stealing from the department stores, bodegas, going right back out on the streets. So New York needs to have stricter policing in order for the laws and the consequences to stick so that people won't do this again.
So squatters do not have the rights as tenants. That is firm. They can be prosecuted and there'll be consequences to them. So that is the message that should go out there. You are not living in those houses legally. And again, I thank you for your coverage of this.
Oh, good. You will be prosecuted, and they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Throw away the key. Give them 10 to 15 years. Because these people, you can't just hop on somebody's property and then be like, okay, yeah, I just changed a little bit of I just put some money towards the kitchen, or I changed the locks on the front door, pay me $10,000. Are you kidding me right now?
This new law goes into effect immediately, which means when police show up moving forward, someone has to show real proof they're not a squatter. Food receipts and word of mouth won't do.
I love that because I remember when Dan, the same reporter from Local 7, I remember when he was there, that squatter didn't have any proof. He just showed him some bogus, he didn't even show him anything. He didn't show him a lease. He showed him some sort of receipt that he did changes to the home within the 30-day period that he was there. That's not enough, sir.
In Albany, the New York State Senate and Assembly, they passed a $237 billion budget. Governor Kathy Hochul is expected to sign that in the coming days. The package includes changes to squatter laws. The controversial trend of squatting is one that we here at Eyewitness News.
Look at how he looks. He's like, fuck. Yep. He looks like a criminal. He looks like a criminal. And there are images of him coming out of the courtroom with his head like covered. Why? Why are you covering your head? We already know who you are. Your face and is already plastered all over the United States and abroad.
And the 7 on Your Side investigative team have been covering extensively for months. This includes one who was criminally charged just this past week in Queens. 7 on Your Side
That's good. He was criminally charged. As he should, because he was a criminal. Did you know that he was illegally subletting to other people for months?
Investigative reporter Dan Krauth joins us with all the details.
Yeah, after our series of investigations, numerous lawmakers filed bills to help prevent squatting from happening. This weekend, they came together and voted to change.
Shout out to Dan. All right, Dan.
State law.
Announce the results.
Ayes 102, noes 43.
The bill is passed.
Over the weekend, both the state assembly
The bill is passed.
and the state senate passed the new bill. It's a small change lawmakers say will have a big impact. They voted to change the state's property law, stating a tenant shall not include a squatter. They say it will make it easier for police to intervene in cases when someone enters a home without permission or legal paperwork, instead of having to take them to housing court. We've reported on numerous...
I have a feeling that they would be like, so what is the definition of a squatter? Because, you know, there are going to be people out there who will be like, let me try to manipulate the law to see how it will benefit me. Trust and believe. They're going to do that.
Cases of accused squatters, including one that was criminally charged last week in Queens. After our reports, at least 4 lawmakers filed anti-squatting legislation, which led to a last-minute compromise over the weekend.
Included within our budget was language that will exclude squatters from tenancy rights and define squatters under the law, which was a key component.
That's what I was looking for. It defines squatters, which is the key component, he says. Because like I said, there are going to be bad actors who are going to try to maneuver this new law. But this way, you're going to define what a squatter is, and you'll be able to prosecute them to the extent of our legal system. This is actually a huge win for landlords. A huge win for owners too, homeowners.
Of our legislation we spoke about last time.
How did it get in there in the first place?
So we fought really hard. A bunch of the investigative reporters like yourself who elevated the stories and the nightmares people are facing showed the leadership in our government that we need to make a change, that these are problems that do happen to everyday New Yorkers.
One of the biggest things I was thinking to myself is like, you know, I'm glad that they're showing a spotlight on this. I'm glad that they're making a change, because I think that sometimes we feel like the system is not working for us and it is working against us, especially when these things are happening, and they've been happening for years. And it's really sad that in 2024, we've come to a place where like now we're actually doing something about it. We're demanding that changes are happening in real estate. I'm really glad about this, because, you know, I get it that finding housing is very difficult for many different people for a host of reasons. It could be financial, it could be economic, one and the same. But if you own something because you inherited it, or because you just simply purchased it from your own money, financed it, whatever the case is, it's really sad. Think about it. It's really sad for a perfect stranger just to come in and take your place because they don't have housing, they need an asylum, they're from a certain group. We should be kind and considerate. No, that's not fair. So then I'm displaced while you take care of this person. We have systems in place for people who lack housing. We have housing programs. We have shelters systems. We have co-living spaces. So there are options for people. They're just choosing to do this on their own. Essentially, they're infringing on somebody else's rights. And I don't think that's really, that's fair. That's not fair at all. And shout out to you guys in the comment section of the other video that I did the other in the original squatters video. Like, it's true. Like, how dare these people just do something like that? I'm really glad that our state assemblymen and our local officials came together and they made this happen. Because of why? Because of people like the media. I know we tend to shit on the media a lot of times, but this is one of the few times they actually helped the everyday person. And this is great. This is good news. This is good PR for the media, but also it's good news for just the average person who worked really hard to have the American dream.
Bill now heads to the governor's office for approval, where she is expected to sign it sometime over the next week.
She already signed it, as we saw.
This is squatter standoff captured on camera. For the first time, we're hearing from the homeowner at the center of it all. Since the state laws have now been changed and the man who was inside her home was criminally charged, Mike.
Investigative reporter Dan Kraut joins us now. Dan, you and I have been talking so much about this, and now we get to hear from the woman inside that home with you.
Yeah, and a pretty big update. We all remember Adele, right? Yeah. She was involved with the standoff.
Yes.
Well, prosecutors charged the accused squatter in her home and ordered him not to go anywhere near it. So you think the problem's over, right? She still has strangers living there. She says it's a complicated situation, and she's waiting to see how this new law is applied to determine what to do next. So Adele, you're getting arrested right now?
I'm being arrested.
For what?
For being in my own home.
The video of her arrest has been seen around the world.
Never knowing.
That shit is like, this is insane to me, right? You got ABC News cameras filming this whole process. This guy, Dan, from local ABC 7 News, filming this entire process. The police are up there, and she's like, yep, I'm getting arrested for being in my own house. Peaceful ass face. Listen, I know a lot of you are going to be like, oh, hell no. I ain't going to wait for the police here. I'm kicking them out and blah, 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 whatever. Some people take matters into their own hands. We already know. But cool, calm, and collected. On camera, she got arrested. Isn't that crazy?
It was going to get to that extreme, but if it took that to get to here, I'm okay with that.
When we showed up to interview Adele Andaloro outside her Flushing, Queens home back in March, we did not expect the accused squatters to show up, or that she'd be put in handcuffs for changing the locks. The charges were later dropped, and the Queens DA then arrested and charged the man accused of squatting in her home.
I've just gotten so many phone calls, so many emails, people letting me know that, people thanking me for putting it out there and letting the people know that this is happening every day and to what extreme it can actually get.
But even though
she's forever going to be immortalized as the woman that changed the squatter laws in New York City. She's forever going to be a poster child for that. And we're grateful. I know she was like saying at the beginning, if I had to go through all of that just to get my house back, then so be it. I had to get national attention just so that I can win. I'm happy for her.
Prosecutors charged the man and ordered him not to return to the home. They say he rented out rooms to other people. And Andaloro says they're still there.
The sooner I can get these people out, the better.
The bill is passed.
Since her arrest, lawmakers changed state law, giving police more authority to remove squatters who don't have a legal right to be there, instead of taking them to housing court.
I'm really proud that we could deliver for people.
My thing is, like, how were they renting it out? Were they renting it out like they had a lease or some shit like that? Because he's not the legal owner. They should be able to take them out. I guess at the time of the video, the law wasn't passed. And so now that they had to apply the law, right? They had to sign the law into the bill into law. And then so now they have to apply the law.
Her and many others.
I'm over the moon about the change in the law.
But it's unclear what will happen yet in her case. The new law defines a squatter as someone who doesn't have title, right, or permission of the owner to be there. It's unclear if that includes people renting out rooms from an accused squatter.
So now I'm kind of just waiting it out for a couple of days before I take any action to see if there's anything I can do that maybe will shorten the length of the process for me now that the law has changed.
The accused squatter who was charged says he's innocent, claims he signed out what he claims turned out to be a bogus lease with an unnamed real estate broker. He will be back in court next month. We'll track that, and we'll also, of course, track to see what happens to Adele.
This is so unique, and it sounds like another gray area that has emerged from this. You know, the person who signed the lease from the person who was acting as the homeowner but wasn't actually the homeowner.
It is. I have a feeling this will be taken care of fairly soon. Adele's afraid to go back to the home.
Yeah.
So she hasn't seen for herself because we saw what happened last time.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll keep you posted. And I have to thank the viewers. I wake up every day to at least a dozen emails from people saying they're in a similar situation. In fact, I walked into a building yesterday and a security worker told me his family has been dealing with a squatter situation, 3 squatters for about 11 months. And once the news broke last week that squatter was criminally charged, they disappeared and they haven't come back.
Wow.
Literally, that was one of the best things I could hear and made my day.
Wow. So, congratulations. I know it's been a lot of hard work and more work to do. By the way, to see all the reports that you've done, ABC7NY. Dan, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Now to
Dan is having a field day right now. he is just on cloud nine, like, yep, it was my story. I picked up the story and my story. That's what he sound like. Like, yep, who did it? Who said it? Shout out to Dan. Shout out to Dan at ABC7. That's what's up. But yeah, now it's a complicated situation because now you're thinking about other people who are living there under false pretense. Like the other owner, who was a false owner, is giving you the lease to live there. But that should be null and void if that person is not the owner, though. But I guess because of our tenant laws, like I said, it's not that simple. But I think within a couple of days, within a couple of days to a week or two, they'll be able to get that person out, those people out of the house, and Adele will be able to have her house. So shout out to Adele. I'm so happy for her that she had a happy ending, and there were that security guard that Dan was talking about had a happy ending with that. And on that note, thank you guys for watching the video. I will see you in the next one. I have a couple of things to show you guys. I have posted a apartment tour for 20 West, and I have another apartment tour that I did on the Upper East Side today. A tour that a showing that I did with a client. I'm gonna post that on here as well, and I have a couple of videos that are coming up. They're coming. The content is coming. The weather is warming up, and all the things. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.